It's Madden and Benz Unfiltered on a Monday morning, as usual, brought to you by Mike's Beer Bar on the North Shore. Tim Benz and Mark Madden with you. You can listen to Mark today, 2 o'clock on 105.9 The X. Read Me Breakfast with Benz. Our podcast is up as well. Also brought to you by Mike's Beer Bar, which you can find at the base of the Clemente Bridge across the street from PNC Park. Get yourself a steak and a stone. Grab one of their 500 available craft beers. You can also try one of their 80 rotating taps. That's Mike's Beer Bar on the North Shore. Meet me at Mike's. You can do so before Monday Night Football with the Steelers coming in after a win against the Baltimore Ravens, which we will talk about right now. Mark, plenty to get to there. For an update, something we didn't talk about yesterday because we just found out about this morning. DK Metcalf left behind in Baltimore to tend to not so much a medical concern, but out of an abundance of caution, apparently had some stomach issues following that game, took a hit. So we'll see what his status is for Monday night against Miami. That's the new news update from yesterday. I did hear from Gene Steratore this morning on WDVE, Mark. He was on a day earlier than he normally is, talking about all those controversial calls in the game against the Ravens. With some time to reflect, did your opinion change on any of those? It sounded like Gene was ironclad in his opinion that the big one that was missed was the one over Christian Kuntz, the long snapper for the Steelers. But the other two, he thought that the refs got right. What about you?
Gene, 9 out of 10 times is going to back the call that's made. That's my experience. That's no knock on Gene. That's just how he operates. I think that's a touchdown. I think that Rodgers very technically is down on that play, but I don't know how we so meticulously define the instant of possession with the knees on the ground for Rodgers, but are a little more ambiguous when it comes to Likely's touchdown. And as far as the long snapper thing, Tim, I'm all for protecting the long snapper. They're the lifeblood of the game.
It was probably something that the Steelers were bitching about, either that they saw on film and told them to watch, or from a previous long snap. I think they had one field goal prior to that from Boswell that they might have noticed. They probably bought themselves a call on that one, even though I don't think it rose to the level, to use their vernacular, of what was worthy of a penalty.
Well, I think when you look at these three calls as a group, it's amazing the Steelers got every one. That's where they got lucky. You can break down the calls individually like Steratore did and is paid to do. I think it's incredible that every call went the Steelers' way. If even one does not, they lose the game.
Well, you know what? I saw a lot of this online is every time one of those Steelers calls happened in their favor, I saw somebody tweet, "It's a makeup for the Zay Flowers call. It's a makeup for the Zay Flowers call." How many times can you make up one call? Those were three massive calls in favor of the Steelers after a 50-50 call on Zay's catch.
Well, if you want my opinion on the calls, the long snapper one, I think the whole rule's stupid to protect the long snapper. F the long snapper. I think Likely's is a touchdown. I think he had the ball long enough. And I think every other call where it's a fumble and guys are wrestling for it in a pile, whoever winds up with it last is the guy given the ball, and they made an exception in this case.
Mark, there's so much talk about the officials in this game and how the refs helped determine the outcome. I honestly think it's dwarfed how much conversation there could be about how well they played in the first half and how many things they screwed up in the second half. Like, the game itself has been swallowed by the officiating conversation, and there's a lot to get to there. I really liked their first half. I really liked how they played offensively in the third quarter, as opposed to that horror show that we saw against the Buffalo Bills last week in the third quarter. The fourth quarter offense was an abomination, and if there weren't going to be fire Tomlin chance for a second time on Monday Night Football, had they won that game, if they ended up losing it because of how they managed themselves on offense in the fourth quarter, there definitely would have been, based on that result.
Well, Tim, I think everybody should shut up about firing Tomlin, because Aaron Rodgers told us to. A guy who's been here about 15 minutes and has played 2 or 3 good games since he arrived.
You saw the clip, right, after I sent you the audio?
Yeah, he's an ass. He's just an ass.
He can say that, and he can sort of bloviate and pontificate whatever he wants to do at the podium or whatever. But, like, you know, Aaron, you were brought here to win a playoff game. And what people were griping about with Mike Tomlin a week ago, it wasn't about a week ago. It was about 8 straight seasons. That's what it's about. And you beating the Ravens doesn't change that. You winning a playoff game would change that.
And it wouldn't even change it that much if he wins a single playoff game. I just don't care about what he has to say regarding Mike Tomlin. Like I said, he's been here 15 minutes. He's played a couple or 3 good games in his entire tenure as a Pittsburgh Steeler. He looks like a 42-year-old POW. I think he should go out and get vaccinated. He'd feel better.
Well, I don't know what the vaccination would be against unless it's Arthur Smith's play calling in the second half, particularly the fourth quarter. Mark,
Tim, getting back to what you said, I thought the first half in total was a crime against football. I mean, if we want to say the Steelers played fundamentally sound, yakety yak, okay, but I was just bored to tears by the first 30 minutes. I thought the Steelers turned chicken in the fourth quarter, but I thought Lamar Jackson also ran the worst 2-minute drill in the history of the genre. They should have been playing yakety sack. So I think the whole game, it wasn't a matter of the Steelers being better. It was a matter of the Ravens being worse. And if the Steelers do win the AFC North, they'll win it because they were the last team standing. Everybody else was just considerably worse.
Oh, I think the North has come back to the Steelers more than the Steelers claim the North. You could have made the same argument about the Bengals being back in it prior to their collapse in the second half against Buffalo. I'll disagree with you a little bit on the first half. I thought that the way that Rodgers and Metcalf connected, that was significant. I thought the way that they managed to hold the run game in check for at least 30 minutes was significant as opposed to what we've seen in recent outings from the Steelers. I thought Eccles played a great first half. I thought he helped kill drives to the Ravens. I thought that was noteworthy. I thought there were some good noteworthy performances from the Steelers in the first half. I was like, you get jaded doing this after a while, but, the old fan in me came out a little bit in the fourth quarter. I was genuinely getting angry at what they were doing offensively, trying to help their defense in theory, but just willingly going 3 and out and playing the field position game, punting. Any chance they had, Mark, of maybe taking a shot to try to kill that game and hold on to the ball went by the wayside after that Rodgers near turnover interception. That spooked the hell out of them.
Putting the game in the hand of a defense that usually doesn't come through. And yesterday, Lamar Jackson came through more than that Steeler defense did. Lamar was just, like I said, the worst 2-minute drill in the genre's history. But, Tim, getting back to what you said, I want to be entertained by football. And that is one of several reasons I can't stand the Steelers. They are totally unentertaining. There was nothing fun about them to watch. Yeah, Rodgers and Metcalf hooked up a couple times on nice balls, and they dusted off the deep shot a little bit. But I think, Tim, I just got a report here. DK Metcalf, the cause of his hospitalization, he finally gave birth to a good game, and this is postpartum depression.
I thought you were going to say exhaustion because he ran a couple of successful routes for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I mean, they beat a mad team by a mad score with mostly a mad effort. I just can't get that excited.
Yeah, I hope at some point in the early part of this week, before we all turn our attention to the Miami game, there's a little bit of time after the dust settles to truly analyze how much they almost drove the car right into the guardrail there in those 3 possessions that they had in the fourth quarter. One thing about it, Mark, especially their last possession when Baltimore had all of its timeouts, what did you think Baltimore was going to do? They were just going to call out a timeout every time anyway. How much time do you really think you saved by running into the line of scrimmage twice and then throwing one safe pass? The funny thing is, maybe the best play of the game was when they gambled a little bit, rolled the dice, and threw that third down shot to Calvin Austin, and it worked out. Do that again on third down, and you kill the game. You throw a little, if it's incomplete, you stop the clock for them on third down. You threw it short of the sticks. It was in front of a ton of Baltimore players that were just fanning back to make sure that the first down wasn't gained. You're playing right into their hands.
Yeah, everything you say is true, but how dare you act surprised or outraged? It's what they always do. Why would you be surprised or outraged?
I'm not surprised, but I am outraged.
Always do.
Okay, but don't do that. That's why you're 500. You should know better by now.
Of course, that's why they're 500. The coaching stinks. But now because they won and they're in first place, the Tomlin is great narrative is firmly back in place. If you watched ESPN this morning, oh, yeah, you want to fire that guy? Happening just like I knew it would.
Who said that? Who did you watch that said that today?
Who didn't say it?
I don't know. I didn't watch. I never watched those shows.
I mean, just people were talking about blah, blah, blah.
Well, I knew that when Tomlin blew the kiss to the camera, that's all that anybody would hang their hats on. Oh, he's telling you this is a message to everybody said that he should be fired.
Here's my message to him. You should be fired.
This one win is pretty much what people outside of Pittsburgh don't understand is how this is so much in line with every other complaint that we've had. They're buried. People should wake up. And then it's a rally the troops game to get them into the playoffs, but they're in no better position to really threaten to win a playoff game or make a playoff push.
Well, right now they would be playing Buffalo at Acrisure, a rematch of a game last week where they got killed. Why would you bet on them this time?
Right. And also, if they were to get the Texans, my goodness, I don't know if that's Rodgers' last game, he might not have a choice as to whether or not it's his last game. He'd be planted in the turf if he played Houston's defense.
The Texans' defense would bust them up. They would bust Rodgers up.
Did you watch that last night?
Yeah, well, no surprise. Yeah. I mean, Tim, who was it said before the season started, Kansas City ain't going to make it too many extra games? Who said that?
You said that.
Exactamundo.
Let's get to some comments in a little bit about the Steelers. But one thing that has developed, Mark, since you and I last spoke and taped up the podcast, it was the middle of the Penguin game against the Stars. They were playing great at the time. They played great largely throughout. They outplayed Dallas in Dallas for a lot of that game. And then they lost in a shootout after a late goal. Was it 40 seconds left allowed by Jari late in that contest?
Well, yeah, but that wasn't on Jari. The Dallas just caught the Penguins out there on a long shift after an icing call and just, fenced them in and eventually came good. So that was a good point, except for one thing. You can't lose every friggin' shootout. They're 0-4 in shootouts this year. They've lost their last 8 in a row. They need to use different people on the shootouts. Sid, Rust, and Letang, especially Sid and Letang, just go down there, do the same thing, and plunk it right to the goalie every time. Try Koivunen, try Kindle, try something else.
The young guys get so much more freedom to practice it, and I think practice it more often than the veterans do in their upbringing. At least they did when they were young kids. That I think you're kind of missing the point if you don't give those guys a shot.
I think you're missing the point if you keep putting the same guys in the shootout that fail constantly.
It's less of a problem in this game because they just gave a point to a Western Conference team. But not only are you not getting them when you play the Eastern Conference teams, whenever you give them to an Eastern Conference team, everybody is so compact. It feels more like a loss than just walking away with, a partial result.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I don't care about Dallas getting the extra point. You're right about that. But you look at the standings, and even though they got, 5 out of 6 points on this road trip yesterday because of the standings, because of how packed Eastern Conference is, it feels like a lost point.
What about Jari, Mark? I don't know if you heard this or saw this. I know that Elliot Friedman posted his 31 thoughts or 32 thoughts or whatever it is that he does every week. And one of them was about Jari potentially going to Edmonton. And from what he was saying, the Penguins are refusing to absorb any salary whatsoever, none.
I heard that too.
Yeah, so that's the big hang up. It's not so much that Edmonton wants or doesn't want Jari. It certainly sounds like they do, and maybe there's even some sort of accord on compensation, but there seems to be a hang up at this point as to whether or not there's going to be any retention by the Penguins.
I think that Dubas is probably dangling a deal out there right now that he knows Edmonton won't make because he knows the dressing room would not receive trading Jari well right now.
Because they're actually performing well with him, or because of just the personality makeup that he has versus the other two guys?
No, I think he's as dull as dishwater. I think it's because he's playing well, and they're playing well in front of him.
Mark, how about what happened over the week?
The Penguins playing well has sabotaged a lot of what should be done without a second thought.
You mean like cleaning house and just trying to get even more prospects and tanking for a better pick is what you're saying?
Not even trying to get more prospects, but in Jari's case, to open up cap space for next year, because he has 2 more years left at $5.375 million per year. But Morshov's the number 1 goalie no later than the middle of next year, no matter what. So if you don't trade him now, you're keeping not dead cap, because I guess it'd still be the backup, but cap you'd like to get rid of.
Well, Mark, we've buried the lead, obviously. We're sitting here talking about something that did happen in Baltimore, something that did happen in Dallas. Why aren't we talking about something that's obviously going to happen at PNC Park, and that is the imminent signing of Kyle Schwarber? How excited are you?
I thought you meant Mo Salah. Maybe he'll leave in Liverpool. That's all I'm thinking about.
Is that going to happen?
Yeah, he got a big bust up because he's been benched for a while. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out.
Is Ben Sherrington signing him too? Where's he going to play?
Someplace else. Yeah, but the thing is, the offer I heard they made to Schwarber was 4 years, a little over $100 million, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the premise is,
That's
oh my God.
Close enough to getting him.
The premise is that the Pirates, for the first time, are making a $100 million offer to a free agent.
Yeah, but they're making an offer they know the player won't accept.
Well, I was just going to say, the problem is he's not going to come for less than 136 or something like that.
I mean, that won't even keep that fat bastard in devil dogs. He needs more than that.
Wait, what are the Tasty Cakes? Are Tasty Cakes from Philadelphia? Is that where they're from?
He doesn't look real picky to me, Tim.
Well, not only is it Philadelphia that he probably wants to stay at because he's there and successful there, it's Cincinnati where he's from, and then there's Boston, who could probably outbid the other 2 teams if they really want him that bad. So they can make a $100 million offer. It's still going to be a 4th place offer, and it's probably the 4th team of the 4 that he would consider.
If I'm him, I stay in Philly, don't you?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, they probably – I'm trying to think who would have the best roster to win with.
But they're going to get Skeens.
What's that?
Philly's going to get Skeens eventually.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's my prediction. Every so often, as with Harper, as with Schwarber, they open the books up and get the guy. It's going to be Skeens. You watch.
I don't know, especially with Livy in the picture. Don't you think it's New York or L.A.?
Yeah, you make a good point. I'm just saying, I bet they make the best offer.
They could make the best financial offer, I suppose, but, with her having the house in, not Babe Ruth's house, but Carl Hagelin's house in New York, which I found to be hilarious. Went from Babe Ruth to Carl Hagelin. That's fantastic. Right? Well, it's not Hagelin's, it's Hagelin's building. She moved into Hagelin's building in New York. Yeah, him and Zabinajad lived there.
Hagelin's still living there now?
No, lived there when he used to play for the Rangers.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was.
I once ate at Babe Ruth's table at this steakhouse called Keen's.
Yeah, where is that? You told me about that. It's near. Isn't that near MSG kind of?
Yeah, not far from the Garden. You can walk from the Garden if you want.
Yeah, I don't know that one. I don't know that steakhouse.
It's really good. But they have they do like the Golden Steer in Vegas where you can sit like in the Rat Pack booth.
Mm-hmm.
Like at Keen's, you can sit in the Babe Ruth booth. At least they say it is.
So is this Mark like?
Tim, I went off the menu. I ordered 2 dozen hot dogs.
Just like the Babe might have.
That's right.
What's the objective here? Is the objective to pacify Pirates fans primarily, or is the primary objective to pacify Major League Baseball and make it look like they're trying to spend for revenue dollars with the strike impending? Or
I kind of think the objective is to give me stuff to make fun of.
They're certainly doing that.
Yeah, I mean, like when I and then on Twitter, the usual suspects are like, "What a big offer!" And I'm like, "He ain't taking that."
It's a very safe big offer.
That.
It's a very safe big offer. Yes.
That's the kind where if you're the Pirates, you really want to get him. You know what you got to offer him? You got to offer him $40 million a year for 6 years.
You got to buy his interest from the other places.
You want to get him? You offer what? $240 over 6.
At least 2 of the teams have a likely better chance to win, can probably outspend, and the third team can, give him the hometown draw to come to Cincinnati if you really wanted to, and being a really hitters-friendly park. Although, theoretically, being a lefty at PNC Park, that should help. But I don't think his numbers are as good there as you might think, aside from the time he almost hit the police boat in the playoffs.
Oh, that was more glorious than D-Day. The Pirates' extra glove made an error. The Phillies' extra the Cubs' extra bat hit the ball into a boat.
Yeah, exactly. That will land sometime next week, probably, that homer from Schwarber.
I can add to the offer. If the Pirates offer $240 million over 6 years, oh, wait, no, it closed. I was going to offer the Mark Madden booth at the Pittsburgh Steak Company.
That's a good way.
There all the time.
What is the steak company now? Is that still a restaurant or is it something else?
I don't know. When I go to the South Side now, I go right past that block to Archie's or to Chupka's.
Real quick, Mark, how do you feel about
the Grand Bar closed too? That was my latest prime rib place.
Although I went to
Bob's Diner in Carnegie. They have prime rib on Saturday. It was delicious.
I went to Carnegie on Friday night to go to Leo Gretta's.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I went there. That was.
I've been there once. I gotta go there more. It's great.
Randy Hillier, I saw there. The great Randy Hillier was in attendance. So
I think Hilly may have recommended it to me.
Oh yeah, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. That rings a bell.
Oh, I got to get to some of these comments here, Mark. I got to lead with this one
course
here.
You do.
This one is about the Mike Tomlin kiss. It says Mark Cabali thought that kiss was to him and he climaxed.
Well, it don't take much.
Sean says Penguins need that shootout dangle specialist, Pavel Barber, to come in and show the boys some shootout moves. I've seen more creative stuff at the high school level than what the Penguins do.
You don't need to be that creative. You just need to have confidence and like a go-to. Like Eric Christensen, Crusher. He had that thing. He had the same move as Sid, only it worked. Where you kind of shift inside a little bit, then fired under the blocker.
Yeah, he was such an expert at that.
But
and
every so often he changed it up and embarrassed the goalie.
And that was in the infancy of the shootout, too. That was like the first 2 years of the shootout where people didn't know what to expect, and he was one of the best in the business. I just
want to let somebody different go. They're letting their best players go, which is an easy trap to fall into.
Pete says, who really cares what the Pirates do? We're not talking about what the Pirates are going to do. We're talking about what the Pirates are pretending to do.
And we're talking about what they're not going to do. In other words, shut up, Pete.
Richard says the Pirates playing PR games, knowing the so-called big offers they are making won't be acceptable. Yeah, that's in essence where we're going.
Well, the reason they do that is because the stooge media plays along. I read some article, Tim. Was it in the Trib? I don't know. I got up this morning with skimming Twitter. I read this article. Pirates make historic offer. I mean, come on.
Is it like the historic defense for the Steelers?
I think it's like the historic offer, like when Germany said they just take the Sudetenland and that was it. Except the Pirates aren't taking the Sudetenland.
Where was I going to go with the next thought about? The labor stoppage. All right, so like I was hearing two things about the labor stoppage. One of them is directly.
I just have a picture now of Von Ribbentrop, like a game show host, saying, "Sudetenland, that's it. We're done after that."
Don't you think Kyle Schwarber would rather go to the Sudetenland than PNC Park for the rest of his career?
What nationality Schwarber?
I don't know.
Well,
not sure.
Therein lies the answer.
No, where I was going to go with the thought about the labor stoppage was basically that the two things I heard is like the theory is
all I can think of now is Monty Python with John Cleese playing Von Ribbentrop. That's all I can think of right now.
Are you going to download that as soon as we end this podcast?
The minute we're done.
It's one of those things like now it's become a brain worm or an earworm. You got to get rid of it now that it's up there.
Yeah, no question.
But the great irony is everybody says, well, the Pirates need a salary cap to compete. The Pirates need a salary cap to compete. But I saw this, I read about this. They don't want it because they don't want the floor, which you and I have talked about on a number of occasions here because you can't get one without the other. And the other thing about the labor stoppage is now another great irony is teams like we just talked about them, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Red Sox are even in the camp of wanting a cap or can be talked into a cap because the Dodgers can so outspend everybody else because of the Japanese marketplace. The other rich teams are saying that the landscape is unfair. That's what it's come to.
Well, no, I said when all this became a topic, when this plays out, the rich teams will be arguing for the cap and the poor teams against it for the reasons you just described, which is in total opposition to every other cap discussion in sports history.
Let's get to a couple others. Get back to the Steelers. Steelers Freak 1964 says, another uninspired W. It became less and less inspirational as the fourth quarter was going along. They just ran the ball in the line of scrimmage and willingly gave the ball back to Baltimore and dared them to not win, and Baltimore took that dare. That's how.
No question. That guy got it exactly right. Here's the other thing, too. Steelers can't run the ball at all.
That's 34 yards against Baltimore.
At all. Can't run the ball at all.
And by the way, Miami can run the ball, and that's become a problem for Pittsburgh.
And Miami's won 4 in a row.
Yeah, they play crap, but they've won 4 in a row.
But there's okay, like the Steelers have beaten the Packers from 66 every game. They're in the race, Tim. They're in the hunt. They're one game behind the Steelers.
I think they're tied with the Chiefs, aren't they? Go figure that.
Correct.
This one comes from Brian, who says, tell Madden to apologize to Tomlin for winning the AFC North again.
He didn't win it yet.
Yeah, it's entirely possible they could give this back, and what if they do? You want fire Tomlin chance. Imagine if he builds
here's the thing, Junior. I don't care if he wins the AFC North at all. At all. Not even a little bit. It's a crap division. It means nothing. Win a playoff game, bitch.
9-8 or 10-7 doesn't matter until they win a playoff game anymore. That's, it used to be the standard is the standard. We've changed the standard, and they can't even reach that. So let's kind of adjust our eye level as to what's acceptable here.
Like I said to somebody yesterday, somebody said at my viewing party at the Polish club in Wampa, which is tremendous. And the guy was kidding around. He goes, how will you feel if they do win a playoff game? And I go, it'll be an extra payday for me. Another viewing party just like this one.
This is from Alec, who says, is it silly to talk about AFC playoff ambitions if the Steelers win the North? Yes. I mean, their ambition should be to cover the spread at home.
Well, no, I will say, the AFC is really bad. And I think there are certain matchups the Steelers couldn't win. Like, I think Houston with their defense would kill the Steelers. I think they could beat Buffalo if Buffalo has a bad day. I think there's certain winnable matchups, yeah. Winnable, not where they'd be favored.
Let's get to, where's the other one here? From Chuck, who says, so with 2-2 in the final 4, Mike T gets his winning season, and he gives the fake applause hands. Well, it won't be so fake here. People, I shouldn't say here. Nationally, people will applaud him for real because they think that matters.
All he needs to get the approval of the Get Up Bunch, etc., is to have a winning season to make the playoffs. That's it. That's the list.
Derek says all this win does is give us a worse draft position and baby Art the ability to say Coach T can beat the best. Mediocre middle we stay. I don't think anybody's saying the Ravens are the best. I don't know who would say that at this point, but the rest of it I agree with. Oops, I think we lost Mark. Mark's probably gone off to go watch. I don't know what happened there. You maybe want to go watch. Oh, you're back. You back, Mark? Or did we lose everybody? We might have lost everybody. I'll just read some tweets here. This comes from Johnny, who says, watching Black and Queen run down the field after Baltimore's running back 2 was out of breath was hilarious. Oh, Keaton Mitchell, he got hurt after that. Johnny says, thoughts on the college football playoff. Did Notre Dame get the shaft, and should the format be changed? The format should not be changed for Notre Dame because they're not in a conference. Notre Dame's not in a conference right now. Notre Dame, if anything, this should wake them up to tell them that they have an advantage if they go to a conference, and they should not do anything to make Notre Dame feel better about itself or its playoff position. And let's get to one more, and then we'll just kind of tap out here if the video has died. Mark is right. Watching the Steelers like watching a breached birth while eating pizza. That might be the ugliest analogy yet, but frankly, not all that much less ugly than what we saw with their offensive approach down the stretch when it came to the fourth quarter on offense. All right, don't know what happened with the video. We will be back next week in advance of Monday Night Football against the Dolphins and the Steelers. We will be here previewing that game because we wrap up usually on Mondays. We got a Monday night game coming up, so we'll look ahead to Dolphins and Steelers and everything else that happens with the Pens coming up next week here on Madden and Benz Unfiltered, brought to you by Mike's Beer Bar on the North Shore.